Coming up on The Bottom Line, a candid conversation with one of this county's most successful residents. We'll get some FaceTime with Bill Marriott. A host of public officials converge on Rockville in support of affirmative voting rights. And county residents get a first-hand look behind the scenes at the public safety headquarters. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Susan Kennedy. It is one of the leading lodging companies worldwide, and it's headquartered right here in Montgomery County. When you mention the name Marriott, quality and customer service usually comes to mind. And the company's executive chairman, Bill Marriott, wouldn't have it any other way. We got some FaceTime with this corporate icon, and his bottom line, consistency.
We're extremely proud of our association with the Marriott family and with Marriott International. And there's no doubt that without Bill Marriott's vision, courage, commitment, and love for the city, which is very genuine, heartfelt, as you'll hear, and without the great company that he's created, we just wouldn't be here today.
Tell us a little bit about what you learned from your father as far as being a leader and growing a business.
I think one of the most important is consistency. We've always had high standards, but consistent standards. Back in the old days, the hot shop, there was about a 10-page book for our waitresses on how to dress, how to provide the proper makeup, make sure their stocking seams were straight back in the old days. And then we had how to present a plate to the table and how to clear a table and never pick the glass up like this. You always had to pick it up from the side so you didn't get your hands on where the people would drink. So lots of details that were part of the consistent service program.
My dad's favorite story was about the guy that came down for breakfast in the morning, and the waitress met him, came up to the table, and she said to him, "What do you have for breakfast?" He said, "Eggs over easy," and some kind words, and she came back with the eggs, put them down, turned around. He said, "What about those kind words?" She said, "Don't eat them eggs."
My dad always believed in hard work, and he believed in treating people fairly and providing opportunity for them. As he grew the business, he'd hire these kids off the street, teach them how to cook. They'd become cooks in the hot shop and sometimes become managers. And today, 50% of the general managers of our hotels all started out as hourly workers.
What is the hardest part of being at the top of this industry in this day and age?
Well, I think innovation and keeping up with the trends today. Everything is changing so fast. Technology was not even an issue when I started the business. A typewriter was all you needed in your office. Today you've got these complex systems and computers, and everybody's carrying an iPhone and they want to check in. We just introduced mobile check-in in 300 hotels, so you can check in from your iPhone no matter where you are on the road, get your room assignment, you pick up your key at the desk and go straight to your room. So this is the kind of stuff that's changing that makes it so challenging today, is that all the technology and the people that are basically under 40 are all technocrats. They don't know how to talk to each other, they just text each other. And so consequently, keeping up with that part of the business is a real challenge today.
I love this city. I was born here. I'm delighted we're giving it a state-of-the-art convention hotel.
Montgomery County is where you call home for Marriott. You've been here for as long as the company's been around. You're the second largest employer here in Montgomery County as well, right?
That's right.
You're the second largest employer here with over 5,000 employees. Why is this a good place to call home for Marriott?
Well, you know, in the hotel business, we say location, location, location. Makes for a successful hotel. It's a beautiful county, lovely homes, good schools, good hospitals, good health care, friendly people, and it's just got it's a pleasant place to live.
I read a few of your blog entries, and I like how you include excerpts about your family in there frequently. You talked about going up to New Hampshire, and family has always been really important to you. In fact, I even read it once that you made it a point to be home for dinner every night with your family, which is really tough in today's world for a lot of working people. Why did you feel that that was something that you needed to do?
Well, I thought that children in today's economy and environment need to grow up a father and a mother, and if the father's there and living at home, he should be there for dinner. Now, you know, what would happen is I'd show up at 6:15, we'd have dinner. By 7 o'clock, I'd finish with my wife with the dishes, and we'd be ready to go. Kids would do their homework. I'd do my homework till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. We'd go to bed. Next day, we'd have dinner again. So every time I was in Washington, unless I had a compelling reason not to be there, I was home for dinner every night.
Council President Nancy Navarro introduced, and the Council has passed, a resolution that calls for Congress to restore Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that was declared unconstitutional earlier this year by the Supreme Court. The resolution also calls on Congress to give residents of the District of Columbia full representation and voting rights in the House of Representatives and the Senate. Council President Navarro was joined in Rockville by her colleagues and Senator Ben Cardin, Congressman Chris Van Hollen, and D.C. Mayor Vincent Gray in support of protecting this fundamental right.
It calls on Congress to propose an amendment to the U.S. Constitution that would grant an individual right to vote.
A resolution introduced by Council President Nancy Navarro was the impetus for this week's event. That measure calls for Congress to restore Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that was recently declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Surrounded by supporters, Navarro stressed the need for robust federal enforcement of election law.
The free and fair elections are the foundation of our democracy. As elected officials, our job should be to encourage civic participation and community engagement. But in some states, we have seen a disturbing trend of more barriers to voting. States have shortened early voting, restricted the types of ID that eligible voters can use, and severely limited the ability of civic organizations to conduct voter registration drives.
Navarro hopes the resolution will be a catalyst for offering innovative proposals that can be adopted at the state and federal level as well.
There are problems out there. There are those who think it's all right to try to depress the voting rights of people in this country, particularly targeting on minority communities. And Nancy, you're right. The state of Maryland's taking steps to make it easier rather than more difficult for people to vote. We recognize that if you have to stand in line for 2 hours, you may not have 2 hours that you can be away from your work or be away from your family. We've got to make it easier rather than more difficult for families to be able to cast their vote.
It is absolutely shameful that in this democracy of ours, some people would try to win at the ballot box, not by expanding participation in elections, but by trying to limit people's participation in elections.
Navarro's resolution also urges changes at the local level.
The local level is actually where the rubber meets the road. Montgomery County Board of Elections is now in the process of selecting up to 4 new early voting sites. I sent a letter to the Board of Elections a couple of months ago to request that they select sites that are accessible by public transportation. And this led me to suggest to my colleagues that we should look at a broader set of voting rights issues and how Montgomery County can play a leading role for progressive reforms.
Sometimes news happens right in your own backyard. Recently, I had the opportunity to witness not only a big news event as it unfolded, but also the cooperative effort of 2 counties working together in a delicate rescue effort. Montgomery County's Urban Search and Rescue Team was called to assist in the rescue of a construction worker who was trapped in a sinkhole in Frederick County. The Urban Search and Rescue Task Force is a highly specialized group of firefighters, paramedics, and civilian specialists who have been trained to handle difficult rescue situations. After more than 4 hours of work, the construction worker was freed and taken to the hospital where he was treated and released. Montgomery County Fire Chief Steve Lohr was on hand, and he gave me his thoughts on why it is so important to work together in these delicate situations.
This is a low-frequency, high-risk incident that requires a lot of specialty equipment, and it's very labor-intensive, as you can see. We had probably over 60 personnel assembled here in teams of 6 or 8, and obviously that contributed to a successful outcome today. So we're very grateful we could help.
Along those same lines, residents of all ages were recently given the opportunity to get a behind-the-scenes look at the county's public safety headquarters. This open house not only showed residents what public safety can do for them, but some of this county's littlest citizens got some hands-on lessons as well.
We're having one of many open houses here at our new public safety headquarters. We purposely wanted to open it up today so that members of the community would realize that their public safety friends and family are certainly working hard for them.
Have a bag. Have fun, guys.
And also wanted to share things that we currently have as resources to assist them in various means.
Fireman!
We have many of these static display vehicles, both from the Fire and Rescue Service and the Police Department. We have vehicles we use in our emergency responses.
I liked getting on that big bus the best.
Such as our command bus, what we call a Bearcat, that's the manufacturer armored vehicle, if you will. And of course, the Fire and Rescue has different vehicles that they use for rescue and other specialty operations.
Getting in the trucks and stuff like that, it looked like awesome.
What do you think about police officers and firemen?
They're cool.
In addition, of course, we also have demonstrations as well.
We're demonstrating the robot today. These robots are currently assigned to the bomb squad, which is part of the fire department. And we're showing some of the manipulative skills it can do. We are able to use this to send it areas that we're not sure is safe yet.
Forensic basically just means you're applying legal perspective to science. There is a lot of different things that we can do depending on what type of scene we're working with. And this poster board gives a really good oversight as to all the different things that we will do on a scene. And one of the big things that we do is we look for fingerprints. And so that's why we have these powders and these brushes. And so we'll use this and we'll search over the area to try to find our fingerprints. And then this is the card that our friends in the latent print unit will take a look at to try to figure out whose fingerprints they are. And if any of the kids want to do this, you guys are more than welcome.
We all know that crime scenes can be very, very gross.
Yes, they can be.
And in particular as females, because we have emotions. I'm certain in your training they teach you how to deal with your emotions.
We have, great supervisors, great coworkers, and so if someone is out on a scene and it's been a rough one and they need to talk about it, we know that we can talk to our supervisor, our coworkers, so we know how to help each other work through it.
Well, over the last year or so, we have, under one umbrella, if you will, one building, brought a number of resources all together, especially within the public safety sector. Not only has the police headquarters relocated here, but also the fire and rescues as well, in addition to the Department of Transportation.
All right, the most important thing that's explained to the person that's been under arrest.
We in public safety are not a separate entity. We're part of the community, and safety is a shared responsibility of us all. So we hope that they will continue to walk with us and in many challenges that we may face.
And as we wrap up this episode of The Bottom Line, we want to leave you with some scenes from the colorful and calm Brookside Gardens. I'm Susan Kennedy. Thanks for watching.